Hello, it's the 12th of February 2025. You're welcome back. I'm just taking a quick break from cutting sticks with the chainsaw, and great day for this dry, although it looks like rain coming on, getting an awful lot cut, and so just a coffee break and a video. Now, one of the things about my channel here is it's not meant to be telling you everything accurately. This is an expert, this is a genius. It's to keep you up to date with news that you can't trust from other sources or you won't get at all. And one of the things that's happening is there's rumours and stuff going on about gold. Now, when you go talking about gold, people say, oh, he has money, he must have money. But that's not necessarily the case. Now, gold was recorded in the old Irish records, Annals of the Four Masters and Ones Connected, over 2,000 years ago. A good cow was equal to 1 ounce of gold. And the ounce of gold at that time was roughly the same as an ounce now. Maybe slightly different, but not much. In any event, I sell cows all the time, and it's still an ounce of gold. So an ounce of gold will still buy a good cow, and 2,500 years ago, an ounce of gold would buy a good cow. The price in 1971, when America broke from the gold standard, was $35 in 1971. An Irish Army private's pay, because I was in the FCA at that time, was about £6. Well, it was £6.5 and 2 pence. So it might be £6.10 shillings, £6.5 Irish money for a private soldier. Because we were getting the same money. It was a part-time army thing, mad thing. But so you can work that out yourself. The dollar was 35, and an army private was getting a £6.5. I'd say he'd be getting about 600 a day, perhaps, I don't know, but you can have a go at that. Now, the price of gold is pushing the $3,000 at the moment, and it's rising all the time, and it is a store of value, better than money. No one ever lost by buying gold. If someone bought gold in 1923, I mean, it did at least hold their own in a period of inflation. So the question is, what's driving this gold demand? The gold demand is big now. It's rising big time. And one of the things is Trump's tariffs. People who have gold who live in America and have gold in London Bullion Exchange, or maybe Swiss banks or whatever, realize that if Trump puts in tariffs of 10%, let's say, or 20% on European goods, then Europe may well strike out tariffs the same way. So they could have to pay the tariff money on the gold, or the country they're bringing it out from would put a tariff on it, or there'd be a reciprocal tariff. And they're afraid of that, although I don't know would it apply to gold. But you see, even if Trump exempted gold and said, I'll not include gold, the other countries could say, well, we'll put a tariff on gold. It depends. So it's causing a flood of a movement around the place. Now, Gordon Brown, the socialist British Prime Minister, why anyone would vote for Labour is beyond me. We have a few Labour fanatics here on this channel who comment here. He sold most of Britain's gold. Imagine that. He sold it when they didn't really need it. What an idiot. Now, anyway, the thing is, the gold price is increasing. Now, trouble in the world, and inflation is a thing too. Gold holds its value, whereas inflation goes up. It's not the only reason, and to be honest, many experts aren't sure what this is all about. But there is jitters there. And then there's the big problem that heretofore the like of Japan, the like of China, the like of Russia, who had things to sell, who had goods to sell, who had oil to sell, gas to sell, had surplus money coming in. Now, I would have thought particularly Russia should have been investing its money in the good of its people. It certainly invested in its military, but did it really demolish all the old crappy houses and build nice houses for its people and help people get along? I'm not sure Russia looks after its people properly. China, well, they all invest a bit in foreign reserves, and Ireland has 300 billion invested in US reserves, and they all invest in the dollar because it's the reserve currency. The problem now is America has weaponized the dollar. When you put your money into American bonds and treasuries, you may never ever get paid. And that's what the Ukraine war has done. The Ukraine war is a game changer. It will change history all over the place. And while a lot of people have died, it has great effect in that the cost of it and the trouble of it is pushing voters to my side, what they call right-wing candidates in Europe. Not in Ireland, they're asleep in Ireland, you mightn't be bothered there, but in other parts of the world. And you see Reform UK on the rise in England too. Now, sometimes people see me on the channel here, they know me, and because I have a degree in business studies with a big element of that in investments and all that, I'm not big into investments. You know something, I was better without the farm. If I was investing, I'd have a lot more money gathered up. But but I'm doing what I enjoy anyway. But I do, sometimes people come to me and advise, looking for advice, and it's not a bad idea. I don't get anything for it usually, only a nod and a wink when I see them, but some of them are living abroad and everything else. But I do suggest buying gold to some of them, and they don't seem to want to do it. Now, one of the things about buying gold, and I don't buy it either, because what do you do with it? It's a cursed nuisance if you had it around. I had an ounce of gold one time, and I cashed it in. I cashed it in to buy a new shotgun. But if you have gold, you have to have somewhere. You either store it or you pay to get it stored, right? And you can pay insurance on that. But the insurance is money. They don't guarantee you that if your gold goes, you get gold back. You get cash. Not as good. In any event, the thing is that that the gold market is very complex, and there's an awful lot of leasing gold. So a big you remember the general in the general film, they robbed into was it O'Connor's jeweler shop, and they took bars of gold. It shows them with somebody stole a bar of gold and he nailed them to the table, but it appeared from that, if that's right, that O'Connor's had bars of gold there. So nowadays, no jeweller keeps gold. He leases it from a bullion place, and he takes out what he needs, and he uses it up, and he makes the stuff, and then there'll be bits left over, and it's sent back in, and it's weighed. So they don't really keep it. So it's not a good idea keeping gold at all. Now, the thing is, in a lot of the bullion stores where gold is stored, there's great doubts as to whether they keep it safe. Do they let out more of it than they have? Is the gold deposits in America as big as they think? And this is a big question. So you can have a gold certificate to say you own gold, but could someone else have the same one? So this is all the shenanigans that goes on there. Anyway, there's a bit of movement on. There's a bit of scare. Some investors are a bit worried that the gold's not there at all. Is it Jeffrey Sachs is on? He says, I don't think it's there at all. Anything's possible with these people. Anything is possible. So on one hand, how do you keep it? If you had it, you keeping gold, and if you lose it or anything, and hiding out in the fields, my God, the only thing it'll keep, but you'll probably never find it again. And so people don't usually have it about the place, and I don't really bother. I wouldn't be bothered with it. But the thing is, what I'm beginning to look at now is another investment, and that is in the mining companies. If you invest in mining companies, you invest money. You have shares there. And gold is not going to lose a lot. And this is a wee bit of information. And I have to emphasize, I'm not paid for giving you advice or anything else. I'm not paid for giving you advice, and I'm not your financial advisor. But at the same time, gold stocks in companies are probably one of the best there is for people who sell property. A man came to me one day and he'd got 170,000 for a little old house that somebody left him. And he wanted advice. And he wouldn't hear tell of gold at all. The one thing I did tell him was that if you invest in bank shares, you're only as good as the bank. There's no substance there. Whereas if you invested in something like Kingspan or Diageo, there is buildings there. So I tried to explain that. And that was it. But anyway, there's a number of companies. Well, Kinross is one big international company. Agnico, Agnico, Agnico Eagle, and Gold Fields are a number. And there's a number of other ones there as well. And you can find out their annual production. Now, the way gold works is, generally speaking, whatever's mined, a little of it is lost, but 99% is there and kept. The Chinese have been buying it up like there's no tomorrow. The Indians have been buying it up. All the big banks are buying it. They must be afraid that if there's a run on the banks, they'll be in trouble. So they want to have a little more than just the dollar or the pound sterling or the euro. Okay, so there's something moving, and all the experts can't really understand what it is, but it's general uncertainty. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the dollar's bad. The dollar's going quite good at the moment too, although there is severe inflation all over the world. You can see that everywhere you go. Now, the cost of renting gold in London, the London bullion market, if you wanted to buy 2 ounces there for your jewellery shop to make a bit of jewellery, it's gone up from 10 to 12% last week. That's very high. So the cost of renting it out, and that makes us think that there's a scarcity of gold, that what's there on the record does not exist. The other thing is, in any of the Western countries, if you buy gold, let's say you have money, see, you could pay about 70,000 euros for a kilo of gold. You'll not be bringing that home. I hope not anyway, because it's funny, people would know you probably have it. They bloody well know, and that you'd be in trouble, so you wouldn't bring that home. But what you do, you leave it in the bullion market, and it's well protected. It's all linked up with the police in London and everywhere else. There have been raids on these things, but generally they're scarce anyway. And so if you have the thing, you can insure it. You insure it for so much. Now the temptation then is that if you only have a document to say you own that kilo of gold, and it's in that place, and you're paying so much a year for insurance and for protection and security, you don't get any free security. The problem is, are they letting it out to somebody else? Is that how they can insure it with such confidence? You understand? How do they know that something won't happen it? And so a lot of it could be that the gold's not there. And there was always questions about America and the gold stores in New York and Fort Knox and these places, that it actually wasn't there. But the Chinese, the Indians, a lot of foreign governments, big banks are all buying it up to beat the band. In a way, again now, instead of farming, I don't know what to put. We said 20 years ago, I'd say you'd buy gold for 800 an ounce. It's worth 3,000 now. But it wouldn't keep you either. You know, you'd want something. Still want an income, and the farm, and you have something to sell all the time. So maybe it's just as good. So, to summarise, I just want to bring it to your attention that there's ripples in the gold market. It's not fully understood. They don't follow the normal thing about inflation and all that. It's complex. There's doubts among a lot of them, and knowing the way the world goes on, is it there at all? Does it exist? Is the gold gone? Anything's possible. But for anyone that wants to invest, I wouldn't invest in gold itself. I wouldn't have it. But I would consider, if I had money and wanted to spend it. But the trouble with any money I get in from my cattle, I always have something to buy, like some new bit of kit or something that'll maybe do better for me, you know what I mean, or some bit of work. But now, after the storm, keeping the roof on the house would be another thing. So, but one of the things that would be good is mining stocks. There's a big heap of companies. Mining stocks. There's one company somewhere, I didn't find it out, which had a write-off 50 million of something that went wrong, and eventually got it settled, and they're ready to move in there again, and the gold is there. Gold is very scattered in the Earth's crust. There's not a lot of it. It's a wee bit of it everywhere. There's a good lot of it in Clontibbert in Monaghan, but it's hard to get it out because there's local opposition, and you have to use cyanide and all these things. So it's not that easy, but in some places it's better. But in South Africa, they're down so far mining it that you can feel the heat at the centre of the earth down where you are. So it's not easy got, and it can't be built up in big amounts. During the Spanish Inquisition of the unfortunate Mexican people, the Incas, they stripped the whole gold and brought it back to Spain, and they collapsed the economy because everyone had gold and nobody'd give you anything for gold. Then that fizzled out after a while. They couldn't understand why I have all this gold and it's no good. That's why they had so much of a flood of supply for maybe a decade or so. So I've explained that to you now, just that this is something to watch for. Not that significant. But I would add, and I've been doing the thing about the windmills, when you really look into the company accounts, you realise that the value of the assets of many things, not only windmills and solar farms, lots of things, are way overstated. Way overstated. They might have a van there, or a lorry. It's put in at 70,000, and it's a banger. You know, you see that. So that's a problem. That could be what's going to happen with the economy. That could be what will happen, because I always say a depression or a recession is when the world at large realises the assets on the value of the company accounts are nothing near what is claimed. That's what I say a recession is. And looking at the wind farms and looking at some other things, there is unbelievable value put on a lot of stuff, which is mostly junk. And I remember when Sean Quinn was going well, I knew a person was in the radiator factory in Wales and was crammed to the top with radiators for heating houses, and nothing was going out. I'm only saying that. So what is the value of stuff? If you look at Kingspan here beside me, the lorries are going out every day. So they're selling. Gypsum Industries is selling. You see, so are a lot of these companies selling anything? And when we look at the crack with the renewable energy, and they're all broke, you can see that you never know what is round the corner. But the old gold, it'll hold its value. And the share certificate, I have none. I have to say I have none. A share certificate, but I wouldn't mind buying one or two in some of them companies, Kinross and Nico, Goldfields, and there's a few more there. I think there's Franklin is another one. A few of them could be very undervalued. I think you'll see the share price of gold shares going way up. And you don't have to own anything. All you have is your name and address down on the thing, and you get a certificate to say you have it, and there you are, and you're happy days. That'd be the way I'd be going at if I was selling something, or selling a property, or getting out of farming or something like that. That's what I'd be doing. Okay, folks, that's it. I hope I've explained that to you. There's something funny moving in the gold markets, there's no doubt, but there is a confidence that it's real money. Gold is real money. These things here, it's only wallpaper. See you back. Question me underneath. Bit of fun, I hope. Good luck. Thank you.